Hello, Magic Watchers. I have to apologize that I haven't posted any videos in a very, very long time. Unfortunately, I've been busy with work and school a lot. I mean, I haven't really got to play a boatload. But I know for damn sure that I can post some more videos because it's not that hard. So today I'm bringing you Modern Naya Burn. In my opinion, is a very, very good deck in Modern. It likes to poop on me a lot because, I don't know, I just never win with it. However, I did do very well with it for a good long while. It's received a few cards recently that have made it very, very good. It was already good without Atarka's command, but it's still very, very, very good with it. Enough rambling, let's get on with it. So, for the creatures, we're going to want 2 Grim Lavamancer. 2 Grim Lavamancer main board kinda frees up your graveyard space. It's like you don't really do anything with those graveyard cards as it is, so this kinda allows you to be a pseudo burn spell every other turn. And as much as I love this card, as much as I love it, I would never go over 2, because as it is, you have to start off with this on turn 1. Late game it's just horrible and you don't really do a whole lot with it. Kinda just dies to bolt and path real easily. But the optimal play is turn 1 fetch with another fetch in hand to play this. That way you have your fetches in your graveyard. Turn 2 you can already activate it. It's real good. I like it. You don't have to play it, but I highly consider it. And I mean, if we're talking about burn, there's always a 4 of these cards. Goblin Guide is awesome. Love Goblin Guide. You know, I never really see not a land drawn, but I digress. Goblin Guide, it's 4 of in most little zoo decks and just about every single burn deck if they're not playing Goblin Guide and they're kind of an idiotic person, because this card's very, very good. 1 mana 2/2 haste. I mean, yeah, that has that little land function, but if you just take that off, it's still a really good card. That's why you play 4 of it. And we wouldn't be talking about burn if we weren't talking about Monastery Swiftspear. A card that not a whole lot of people saw coming into this deck. I myself, back in the day, used to think this card was good, very good, but never had a place in Modern or Legacy Burn. Just you want to be casting a bolt for 1 mana. Why would you ever want to play a 1 mana creature that doesn't really do anything? Let me tell you how wrong I was, because this card gets massive very quickly. Yeah, it gets path, but everything in this deck gets path. You can't use that argument for most cards in Modern. If it dies to bolt or it gets pathed, it's not a good card. No, that's stupid. This card's very, very good, and it's a must 4 of in Modern. And I personally think it's a 4 of in Legacy, but that's a different video. Monastery Swiftspear, 1 mana prowess, haste, 1/2. Whose idea was that? If it was a 1/1, I could see it being a little bit worse, but it's not. It's a 1/2. So cast a main phase lava spike, and it's already a 2/3. They can barely bolt it right then. Anyway, then we go to the best card in the deck. But it definitely have to be Eidolon of the Great Revel. Eidolon of the Great Revel is by far the scariest cards in Modern. A lot of decks can't beat it. I mean, I have watched an elf player beat 2 of these just by Cocoing twice, but I mean that was just absurd. That's a different topic. Eidolon of the Great Revel, 2 mana, 2/2, deals 2 damage to either player for each spell they cast that's less than 3 or less. Yeah, it hurts you a little bit, but you don't care. You don't really care. You just want to kill them faster than they kill you. It's most Magic decks, actually. But this card, bananas. Love it. In the mirror match or against little zoo decks, you want to take this out on the draw. On the draw, it's kind of bad because you don't get to go turn 1 blah, turn 2, blah, this. You go turn 1 after they play something, blah, turn 2, blah, but they've already casted 3 spells. This doesn't really do a whole lot on a turn 2 draw, so you want to go turn 2 on the play. Absolutely. Anyway, staying too much on Eidolon. That is it for the creatures. Kinda... Oh, I left one behind. It's kinda simple. I wouldn't play any other creatures, period. You can go up and down on those 14, but I would not, for a moment, put any more creatures in this. Like, I know Wild Nikado has a sort of place in it, because it's a 1-mana 3/3 in most cases. But at that point, you're looking at it all wrong. You're looking at a zoo deck, and you don't want to be playing zoo. You want to be playing burn cards. Which burn cards go straight to your face, whereas a burn card late game can win you the game, but a Wild Nikado late in the game will not win you the game. I can guarantee you how many times I've drawn a Wild Nikado over, say, a Skullcrack, because that's what came out for them. Which is a horrible idea. Anyway, into our little instants and sorceries pile, we have 2 Searing Blazes. I love Searing Blaze in Modern. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love watching the light drain from their eyes as they realize their creature's dying and they're taking 3 for 2 mana. It's crazy. Because you play 12 fetches, which we're not there yet, but you play 12 fetches, and then another 8 lands, this is almost always on. Almost always turned on, so it's real good. You have 2 more on the board. Well, I'm skipping ahead of myself. Let me go. Let's slow down. Searing Blaze, very good card. I mean, if we're talking about burn, what kind of burn deck doesn't play Bolt? If I have to explain this to you, why you play Bolt in burn, then maybe you shouldn't be playing burn. But I don't have to explain this very much. Lava Spike. I love Lava Spike because of the little line of text that you can't see under Mark Teeden's signature, is that it says to target player. So, you know how awesome that is because it dodges Spellskite? Very awesome. Because Spellskite is a card. It's very hard to beat, but you can beat it because it says to target player. It's a sorcery. It's a sorcery speed bolt. It's a bolt. It's not... It is a bolt. Yeah, you can't hit a creature with it, and while that hurts sometimes, this is still by far one of the best bolts they've ever printed. They haven't really printed that many. I think there's 3. Bolt, lightning, wow, chain lightning, and this. I think those are the only 3 spells that deal 3 damage for 1 mana. And they realized their mistake. They tried making it a sorcery speed after chain lightning, and it's still just, it's really good. Oh, idiot. Technically speaking, this is a 3 mana, but you suspend it for 1. This is a... I love Riftbolt. Riftbolt is a 3 mana. You can cast it for 3 mana, and in late game you do sometimes try to win, but you don't have to. For 1 mana you can suspend it for 1 turn and fly off the exile pile and deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So yeah, pretty good. It's another burn spell. I mean, a 1 mana burn spell. It's not really a 1 mana, it's 3 mana, but yeah, it happens a turn later. I love Riftbolt. Riftbolt's really good. I mean, if you want to get to like good cards, I don't know what they were thinking with this card. 3 damage, plump the team, and can't gain life. The land part's irrelevant. Who was the idiot that came up with this? Because this card is bananas. Because you can load up. Look at how many creatures you play. It's 14 creatures, and let me tell you that you can play this and do 3 damage and pump your team, and it's still really, really good because you have a lot of dudes. This card is really, really, really good. So, I love it. It's a Skullcrack on wheels that also does other stuff, which you only ever really use the 3 damage. Or, no, it's not 3 damage. Target player loses 3 life. Oh, deal 3 damage to each opponent. Sorry. The correct wording on that. So, this does not target, so it also gets around Spellskite and Leyline of Sanctity. You're not really worried about Leyline of Sanctity. Tarkus Command. Very good. So, we have Skullcracks. Skullcracks, I originally took them out for Wild Nakatos. I liked it, but Wild Nakato became a dead draw later. As much as fun as it was going like Wild Nakato, Spit Spirit Goblin Guide into like a Tarkus Command. It was really clunky because you really just lost to the Kitchen Finks decks, and I mean, Boggles, as fringe as it is, I mean, I have Boggles, but as fringe as it is, you just absolutely just lose. Because, I mean, 4 Skullcracks or 8 Skullcracks? I don't know, you decide. You don't have to play this card. It's really not necessary anymore. But in my meta, which is close to home, I want a total of 8 Skullcracks. I mean, if we're going to BA burn spells, Boros Charm, also very good. I have found an opportunity to use the indestructible part, and not really the double strike, because anytime you're using double strike, that's 4 damage really on a good day. That's what the top line of this card says. So, and it also target player gets around Spellskite. Spellskite's a big problem, and a lot of people think you can redirect this to that, and you cannot. For lands, pretty simple. 4 basic mountains, 2 sacred foundries, 2 stuffing grounds. Those are your 8 targetable lands that you can go and fetch. So you have your 8 targetable ones. Then you have your 4 arid mesas, 4 Bloodstained Mires, and 4 Wooded Foothills. This can be in any 4 iterations. You can do Arid Mesa, Bloodstained Mires, Wooded Foothills, or Tarns. Tarn can go in any of these spots. Remember when I said I wouldn't own those? These can go in any of these 3 spots. You can use any of these for any red source. Really. So yeah. So I always love when it comes to burn and its lands because it's very, very simple. Just as long as it fetches red, you're good. Onto the board. Some of it's worth explaining, I guess. Ancient Grudge is specifically meant for affinity. That's literally like the worst it can get. Destructive Revelry is also for affinity, and Boggles, as weird as it is, and Lantern Control, which is very, very good, but this card destroys Lantern Control. Searing Blaze for more creature decks, because creatures like elf decks, delver decks, what else? Zoo, it's very good against Zoo. Junk. I love Searing Blaze, especially the 4 that's main inside. Deflecting Palms for... Oh, and Infect. Infect, you really don't like Infect. And this comes in against Affinity, Infect, and Boggles, because this will win you the game for 2 mana. Absolutely, without a doubt. 2 Core Firewalkers, because you're not the only one that plays Burn, obviously. And it's really good against Delver decks. They can't really kill it. They can, I guess, Vapor Snack it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then 3 Path to Exile. I'm considering going down on them because Eldrazi isn't a thing anymore. But you really can't beat Tarmogoyf. Zoo decks, like this needs to come in against Zoo decks because you can't beat Tarmogoyf and you can't beat... I mean, if you're going for it, you can't really beat a Blighted Agent. You can. It's very difficult, but you can. These are really good against Infect. Wormcoil Engine, Ulamog, either of them. Either Kozilek. They see some played Modern, mostly Tron decks. Worldbreaker, because that's also in Tron decks. I mean, it's a good card, but in the decks that it's good against, you should already be winning. I think the most fair game is against Infect, and those come in because you like to get rid of their creatures, regardless of whether or not it deals 3 damage. For these, I mean, you want to be taking out Rift Bolts because Rift Bolts are slower. Same thing. Rift Bolt and Lava Spike are the two cards that come out for these iterations of cards. I don't really bring Core Firewalkers in a whole lot. My meta doesn't really consist of other burn decks or Delver. So I mean, Path is really good, Destructive Reverie is really good. These are all really good cards. Of course, sideboards can change depending on your play style, your meta, your LGS, where you go to play in the GP or an Open. It all depends. However, I will state that everything in this sideboard, except for these 5 cards, is a must. You can't have any less than 4 in the main and side. You can't have like anything less than 2 Ancient Grudges and 4 Destructive Reveries because you have to race Affinity and it's very hard. Deflecting Palm is just absurd against decks that like to pump up a dude. So these are like the 5 cards you could change, because Core Firewalker doesn't really do a whole lot against blue decks. Blue decks are kind of running the format right now. Anyway, that's Modern Burn for you. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment below and subscribe and like. Thanks, guys.